The night was unusually clear and calm, with a sprawling blanket of stars covering the sky as if the universe had spread its jewels for all to admire. Jenna had always been a night owl, drawn to the quiet solitude that only the late hours could offer. This evening was no different, as she lay on the hood of her old pickup truck, a beaten telescope by her side, scanning the heavens from her favorite spot on the ridge overlooking her small hometown in rural Nevada. Jenna's fascination with the stars wasn't purely romantic. She was a doctoral candidate in astrophysics, researching exoplanets and the possibilities of life beyond Earth. Her mind often wandered to civilizations that might exist, thriving on planets she could only observe as distant points of light. Her thoughts were interrupted by a sudden brilliant flash across the sky. It wasn't the gentle streak of a shooting star, but a sharp zigzagging burst of light that defied any meteorological explanation. Jenna sat up, her heart racing. She grabbed her telescope, adjusting the lens to get a better look, but the object was moving too fast, too erratically. "It can't be a satellite," she muttered to herself. The object came to an abrupt halt, hovering. It was then that she realized this was no ordinary celestial event. The object was large, cylindrical, and seemed to pulsate with a light that was neither entirely steady nor completely rhythmic. For a moment, everything was silent, as if the world was holding its breath. Jenna's scientific mind raced through every logical explanation, discarding them one by one. As she watched, frozen in place, a beam of light shot down from the underside of the object, illuminating the ground just a few feet away from her truck. Jenna's instinct screamed for her to run, but her curiosity rooted her to the spot. This was what she had always dreamed of, wasn't it? Proof that there was something more out there. The beam of light flickered, and then in a whir of sound that broke the silence like a clap of thunder, something descended from the light. It was a being, undoubtedly alien, with skin that shimmered like molten silver and eyes that glowed with a faint, ethereal light. It was tall, slender, and moved with a grace that was almost haunting. Jenna stood, transfixed, as the creature approached her, stopping a few feet away. "You are Jenna, are you not?" The alien spoke, its voice a melodic chime that resonated in the crisp air. "Yes," Jenna managed to reply, her voice a whisper of astonishment. "We have observed you for some time," the alien continued, its eyes never blinking, never straying from hers. "You seek the knowledge of the cosmos, but you are primitive, still bound to the soil of this world." The word primitive stung, but Jenna was too caught up in the reality of the moment to take offense. "What do you want with me?" she asked, her scientific curiosity momentarily overcoming her awe. "We seek a liaison, a guide to understand your kind better. Many on this world are not ready, but you, who gazes upon the stars with such hunger, might be." "And if I refuse?" Jenna asked, her tone steadier now. "That would be unfortunate." The implication was clear and the air grew colder. Jenna weighed her options. This was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, but at what risk? Before she could decide, the creature turned, gesturing back to the beam of light. "Come with us, Jenna. See what those bound to soil cannot." Fueled by a mix of fear, excitement, and an insatiable curiosity about what lay beyond her own world, Jenna stepped forward, her decision made. As she moved into the beam of light, her last earthly observation was the flicker of starlight on the ridge, watching as she ascended into the unknown. As the mothership awaited her in the sky, Jenna realized that this was just the beginning. What lay ahead could redefine her very understanding of reality, and she was ready to confront whatever that might be. The transition from Earth to the mothership was seamless, a gentle shift that felt more like stepping through a curtain of light rather than blasting off into space. Jenna found herself in a large, open chamber with walls that pulsed softly with a blue glow. The air was crisp, almost electric, and the gravity, while slightly lighter than Earth's, was surprisingly comfortable. As her eyes adjusted, Jenna noticed more of the aliens moving about. They were similar in appearance to her first contact, tall, with shimmering skin and luminescent eyes. None wore any clothing, their forms sleek and unadorned except for intricate, swirling patterns that seemed to be biologically part of their skin. The alien who had invited her aboard now identifiable by a unique golden pattern around its neck, gestured for her to follow. "We are known as the Irenaios," it explained as they walked. "Our mission is peaceful. We traverse the cosmos, seeking to understand less developed civilizations and guide them towards enlightenment, should they be ready." Jenna absorbed every detail, her mind racing with questions. "Why me?" she finally asked. "You are different, Jenna. You do not fear what you do not understand. Instead, you seek to learn. This is rare, even among your kind," the Irenaios replied. They entered a room that looked like a hybrid of a laboratory and an observatory. Panels of strange instruments lined the walls, and in the center stood a large holographic display of the Milky Way galaxy. The display was interactive, reacting to the movements of the Irenaios as they manipulated the holograms with their hands. "This is the observation deck," the alien explained. "From here, we can monitor not just your planet, but all significant celestial activities in your galaxy." Jenna approached the display, her gaze fixed on a small dot representing Earth. It was all so overwhelming, yet the opportunity to learn about these technologies and their knowledge of the universe was irresistible. "What do you want from me exactly?" Jenna inquired, turning to face her host. "To understand your species through your eyes, to learn of your planet's cultures, conflicts, and potentials. And in exchange, we offer knowledge that could help humanity avoid the pitfalls many young civilizations face." It was an offer that carried weight. The implications of such an exchange were enormous. Jenna knew this could accelerate human progress by centuries, or lead to unforeseen consequences. But the decision was made. She was here, and she couldn't let this chance slip by. As the hours passed, Jenna was introduced to various technologies and sciences that she had only theorized about. Faster-than-light travel, quantum communication, energy manipulation, and more. The Irenaios were advanced beyond any human comprehension, yet they seemed equally curious about the simplest human concepts: art, music, emotions. Your emotions drive chaos, yet foster profound creativity and resilience. "Fascinating," remarked one Irenaios, observing Jenna's reactions to the various lessons. Jenna spent what felt like days aboard the ship, though she had no way to measure time as she knew it, learning and sharing. But as much as she absorbed, her thoughts kept returning to Earth. How much would they believe? How much should she share? Her contemplations were interrupted when an alarm blared, the calm atmosphere shifting instantly. The Irenaios moved with swift purpose, their previous tranquility replaced by urgent action. "There is a situation," the golden-patterned Irenaios announced, returning to Jenna with a grave expression. "A conflict near your solar system's boundary. We believe it prudent you witness this." As Jenna followed them to what she assumed was the command center, her heart pounded. This was no longer just an exchange of knowledge. She was about to witness an interstellar conflict, possibly involving Earth. The implications of her journey were expanding, just like the universe she longed to explore, boundless and unpredictable. The command center of the Irenaios Mothership was a vast, dome-shaped room, lined with panels and screens that displayed an array of data in a script and symbols that Jenna could not begin to decipher. The center was bustling with activity as Irenaios moved swiftly, their voices a mixture of chimes and deep resonant tones that seemed to convey urgency. Jenna stood beside the golden-patterned Irenaios, who had taken on the role of her guide and mentor. They approached a large curved window that provided a panoramic view of space outside the ship. Far in the distance, Jenna could see flashes of light and occasional bursts of energy that marked the conflict the Irenaios had mentioned. "This conflict involves two neighboring species in your galactic sector," explained her guide. "They are fighting over a resource-rich system that lies near the outer boundaries of what you call the Oort cloud. We have been monitoring this situation for some time, hoping it would resolve without escalation." "Why didn't you intervene?" Jenna asked, her gaze fixed on the distant skirmish. "It is not our way to intervene directly in the development or conflicts of other species unless absolutely necessary," the Irenaios replied. "We believe in observation, education, and when possible, guidance. But these species are not ready for our involvement. They must find their path to peace, or face the consequences of their actions. Jenna turned back to look at the myriad of displays and data feeds. And what happens if the conflict spreads closer to Earth? That is a concern, admitted the Irenaeus. Which is why we have brought you here. We need an emissary, someone who can understand and relay the complexities of what might happen if such a conflict were to reach Earth. The weight of the responsibility hit Jenna like a wave. She was to be a bridge, not just of knowledge but of potential diplomatic importance. She needed to understand these alien dynamics deeply if she was to help prevent any fallout that might affect her world. The next few hours were spent in intense briefing sessions. Jenna learned about the two warring factions, the Kirzak, a reptilian species known for their militant approach to expansion, and the Tavawi, avian-like creatures with a deep sense of honor and tradition. Both species, while advanced in their own right, were still decades, if not centuries, behind the Irenaeus in terms of technology and societal development. As Jenna absorbed the information, she formulated questions and scenarios, trying to predict the outcomes and impacts. The golden-patterned Irenaeus, whom Jenna now addressed as Lysara, was patient, providing detailed answers and even simulations on the holographic displays to illustrate points. Jenna, you must understand, the balance of power in your region of space is delicate, Lysara explained. The escalation of this conflict could draw in other civilizations, potentially disrupting the progress and peace of many, including Earth. But what can I do? I'm just one person. Jenna voiced her doubt, feeling the enormity of her task. You have the capacity to understand, to learn, and to communicate, Lysara responded, placing a comforting hand on Jenna's shoulder. When the time comes, your voice could be the one that guides your people wisely. Their conversation was interrupted by another alarm, more urgent than before. The room's atmosphere shifted as the Irenaeus hurried to their stations. Jenna, come, Lysara said as they moved towards a specific console. The conflict has taken a turn. A Kirzak fleet is advancing towards a boundary close to your solar system. We must prepare you for what may come next. Jenna followed, her resolve hardening. This was no longer just about scientific curiosity or adventure. It was about safeguarding her home, her planet. She was ready to learn, to communicate, and if necessary, to fight in her own way for Earth's place in the galaxy. As Jenna approached the console with Lysara, the view shifted to a live feed of the advancing Kirzak fleet. The ships were sleek, designed for both speed and combat, glinting darkly against the backdrop of stars. Jenna's heart raced as she considered the possibility of such a force nearing Earth. We need to formulate a strategy, Lysara explained, her tone grave. Your role as an emissary may require you to engage directly with representatives of these species. It is paramount that we prepare you for the complexities of interstellar diplomacy. Jenna nodded, absorbing the severity of her position. She watched as Lysara manipulated the controls, bringing up data on the Kirzak and Tavawi cultures, their histories, and previous conflicts. The information was dense, but Jenna's quick mind and keen interest in alien civilizations helped her grasp the essentials. As they studied, an alert sounded through the command center. Lysara responded immediately, touching a panel that opened a communication channel. The screen flickered, then displayed a group of Kirzak commanders on the bridge of their lead ship. Lysara spoke first, her voice resonating through the command center. We are the Irenaeus. We observe and understand that you are approaching a critical boundary. We wish to mediate a cessation of hostilities before you advance any further. The Kirzak leader, a broad-shouldered figure with scales that shimmered under the lights of their ship, snarled in response. This conflict does not concern you, Irenaeus. Stand aside or be drawn into the fray. Jenna's pulse quickened as she watched the exchange, realizing the precariousness of their position. Lysara turned to her, whispering quickly, Prepare yourself, Jenna. You may need to speak. Jenna swallowed, steadying herself. When Lysara gestured to her, she stepped forward, her image now visible to the Kirzak. Greetings, I am Jenna, an emissary from Earth, a neutral planet in this conflict, she began, her voice steady despite her nerves. Earth values peace and mutual respect among civilizations. We urge you to consider a diplomatic resolution to avoid unnecessary destruction and loss. The Kirzak leader paused, eyeing Jenna with a mix of curiosity and disdain. Your planet is primitive. What stake do you have in this conflict? Jenna responded with a calm she barely felt. While Earth may not possess the advanced technologies of your people or the Irenaios, we understand the devastation of war all too well. We offer a unique perspective that values life and peaceful coexistence. The screen went silent as the Kirzak conferred among themselves. After a tense moment, the leader spoke again. We will consider your words, human, but do not presume to interfere in matters beyond your grasp. The communication ended abruptly, leaving Jenna and Lysara to contemplate their next move. You handled that well, Lysara complimented, though her expression remained concerned. But this is far from over. We must now reach out to the Tavawi and attempt to broker peace from both sides. The next hours were a blur as Jenna was briefed on the Tavawi culture. Unlike the Kirzak, the Tavawi valued honor and tradition over conquest. Jenna absorbed everything she could, preparing to meet with their leaders. When the time came, Jenna found herself speaking with the Tavawi through another communication channel. They were more receptive but equally wary of outsider interference. As a representative of Earth, I share your values of honor and tradition, Jenna told them. Let us find a path to peace that respects these principles and prevents further conflict. The Tavawi leaders nodded, their feather-like appendages rustling softly. Your words bring us hope, human. We will consider your proposal for peace. As the connection closed, Jenna leaned back, exhausted but determined. Lysara looked at her with something akin to pride. You are proving to be an invaluable bridge, Jenna. Your intuition and empathy may yet avert a crisis. Jenna felt a weight settle on her shoulders, the weight of potential peace or devastating conflict. She was no longer just a student of the stars. She was an active participant in their dance. The challenges ahead were daunting, but Jenna was resolved to meet them head-on, armed with knowledge, diplomacy, and an unwavering commitment to her new role as an emissary. As the diplomatic efforts continued, Jenna's understanding of interstellar politics deepened. Each day aboard the Irenaios Mothership brought new challenges and revelations, shaping her into a more confident and skilled negotiator. However, the situation with the Kirzak and Tavawi remained volatile, and Jenna often found herself mediating discussions that could swing abruptly between cautious diplomacy and veiled threats. Lysara and the other Irenaios were always close at hand, providing guidance and support, but it was clear they saw this as Jenna's trial by fire. She was the face of Earth, a symbol of emerging potential and a test case for the effectiveness of Irenaios intervention methods. Amid the ongoing tensions, Lysara brought Jenna to a new section of the ship. This is the strategy room, she explained, as they entered a space lined with dynamic maps and live feeds from various surveillance satellites. Here, we can simulate potential outcomes based on current trajectories and make informed decisions. Jenna watched, fascinated, as Lysara demonstrated a simulation of the conflict spreading. Planets were marked in various colors, indicating their political and economic significance. The domino effect of this war could be catastrophic, Lysara remarked. Not just for the immediate participants, but for neighboring systems, including your own. It was a sobering thought. Jenna realized the full scope of what was at stake, not just the immediate peace, but the future trajectory of her own planet's entry into the galactic community. As they worked, an alert sounded. It was a direct message from the Kirzak command. The tone had shifted. They were now seeking a ceasefire, but their terms were steep. They demanded exclusive rights to the disputed system, a demand that would undoubtedly provoke the Tavawi further. Jenna felt a surge of responsibility. She asked Lysara to arrange a meeting with both parties on neutral ground, aboard the Irenaios ship. Surprisingly, both sides agreed, desperate to avoid further Irenaios scrutiny, and perhaps recognizing that this might be their last chance to avoid a prolonged conflict. The day of the meeting arrived. Representatives from both the Kirzak and Tavawi, along with their respective escorts, were transported to the Irenaios Mothership. Jenna greeted each delegation as they arrived, her nerves taut beneath her composed exterior. The conference room was set in a circular layout, promoting a sense of equality and openness. Jenna sat between the two groups with Lisara at her side. She opened the discussion with a plea for peace, emphasizing the mutual benefits of ending the conflict and the potential for shared development of the disputed system. The Kirzak were first to respond. Their leader, a stern figure named General Zorak, expressed skepticism about sharing their prize, but acknowledged the waste of continued fighting. "Our people tire of war," he admitted grudgingly. The Tavawi, led by a dignified elder named Thara, were more philosophical. "We seek honor in peace as we do in war. Let us find a path that respects both our needs." Negotiations were tense, with several breaks needed to cool rising tempers. Jenna used every skill she had learned, from active listening to strategic concession framing, to guide the discussion. By the end of the day, a tentative agreement was reached. The Kirzak and Tavawi would establish a joint council to govern the disputed system, sharing resources and oversight. As the delegations left, expressions more relaxed and hopeful than when they had arrived, Jenna felt a mix of relief and triumph. She had done it, helped avert a war and possibly opened a new chapter in interstellar relations. Lisara congratulated her. "You have shown great wisdom and courage today, Jenna. You are not just an emissary of Earth. You are a peacemaker among the stars." Exhausted but exhilarated, Jenna looked out at the stars. This was just the beginning of her journey. There were many more challenges ahead, but she now knew she had the strength and diplomacy to face them. Her role had evolved, from observer to active participant in the cosmic dance, and she was ready for whatever came next. After the successful negotiation, Jenna's status aboard the Irenaeus Mothership shifted perceptibly. She was no longer just an observer or a novice in the art of diplomacy. She was a recognized mediator whose skills were requested in various capacities. The Irenaeus began involving her in more complex discussions, not only concerning human interests, but also in matters involving other civilizations within their influence. Lisara, observing Jenna's rapid development, proposed an expanded role. "You have a unique capability to empathize and unite differing viewpoints," she noted one evening as they reviewed galactic updates. "We believe you could be instrumental in forming a coalition of younger planetary systems, one that could serve as a buffer against future conflicts." The idea was ambitious. Jenna felt the weight of the proposal, recognizing both its potential and the immense challenges it entailed. "A coalition," she mused aloud. "It would require a lot of trust that's hard to build across such diverse cultures and histories." "True," Lisara agreed, "but you have begun that process. The peace you brokered has already started conversations about collaboration instead of conflict. It's a small seed, but with care, it can grow." Encouraged by Lisara's confidence, Jenna began to draft plans for this coalition. She organized meetings with various planetary envoys aboard the Irenaeus ship, using it as a neutral ground for discussions. Each meeting gave her deeper insights into the political and social dynamics of the galaxy, and she used every opportunity to advocate for cooperation and shared growth. As her network expanded, Jenna was invited to visit various planets as an Irenaeus representative. Each visit was an opportunity to learn and promote her vision of a united front among the younger civilizations. She encountered skepticism and resistance, but also curiosity and enthusiasm for the idea of a collective security and economic alliance. Her first trip was to a planet called Viridia, a lush, forest-covered world that had recently begun to explore space travel. The Viridians were cautious, their society structured around deep-rooted traditions and a reverence for nature. Jenna approached them with respect for their values, suggesting ways the coalition could help protect their planet's rich biodiversity. "You speak of protection and growth," said the Viridian elder, a stately figure adorned with vibrant robes. "Yet we fear losing what makes us Viridia in the rush towards the stars." Jenna nodded, understanding their fears. Part of this coalition's mission would be to ensure that doesn't happen. We want to preserve and respect each member's uniqueness. Your traditions have as much to teach us as any technology. Her words resonated with the Viridians, and though they were not ready to commit immediately, they agreed to further discussions. Jenna considered this a success, a step toward mutual understanding. With each mission, Jenna refined her approach, learning to balance bold proposals with a respect for individuality. She found allies in unexpected places, like the tech-savvy world of Syntax, whose digital mind saw the practical benefits of a defensive and economic alliance. Back aboard the Irenaeus ship, Jenna shared her experiences with Lysara, who helped her navigate the complex web of galactic politics. "You are weaving a tapestry from very different threads," Lysara remarked one day. "It's a delicate task, but you have a knack for finding common ground." Months passed, and the idea of the coalition began to take shape. Formal agreements were drafted, and several systems signed preliminary accords. The potential for a peaceful, cooperative future seemed increasingly tangible. As Jenna looked out at the stars from the observation deck, she felt a deep sense of purpose. The universe was vast, and its challenges were many, but she was no longer just a spectator. She was a builder, crafting not just treaties, but bridges between worlds. With each new agreement, each successful negotiation, Jenna was helping to forge a new path for humanity and its neighbors among the stars, a path of peace, influence, and shared destiny. The journey was far from over, but she was ready to lead the way. The months following Jenna's initial diplomatic endeavors were filled with a whirlwind of travel, discussions, and delicate negotiations. The concept of the coalition, once a mere blueprint in her mind, began to crystallize into a tangible entity. Each planet Jenna visited added a new layer of complexity and a deeper understanding of the galactic chessboard on which she was now a player. Her next significant challenge was to organize the first official summit of the coalition members. It was to be held on a neutral space station, CentraHub, located at the crossroads of several key trade routes. The station was a sprawling complex of modules and docks, a microcosm of the galaxy's diversity, where multiple species mingled. Jenna worked closely with Lysara and a small team of Irenaeus advisors to prepare for the summit. They drafted agendas, organized security protocols, and mediated pre-meeting disputes that arose from old grudges and territorial disputes among the potential members. As delegates began to arrive, Jenna felt a mixture of excitement and anxiety. The success of this summit would largely depend on her ability to unite these diverse groups under a common cause. The central hall of CentraHub was transformed into a diplomatic arena, where the future of the coalition would be debated and decided. The opening session was tense. Representatives from each member world were given time to express their views and concerns. The Kurzak and Tavawi, now tentative allies, voiced their support for the coalition, but warned against the dominance of any single member. The Viridians spoke eloquently about the need for environmental protections, while the technocrats from Syntax emphasized the importance of shared technological advancements. Jenna listened carefully, noting each point and counterpoint. When it was her turn to speak, she rose, her heart steady. She addressed the assembly with a clear and resonant voice, weaving together the threads of their diverse aspirations into a single narrative. "We stand at a crossroads," Jenna began. "Before us lies the potential for unprecedented collaboration. This coalition does not seek to erase our differences but to celebrate them, creating a unified force that respects each member's sovereignty while ensuring our mutual security and prosperity." Her speech was met with a mix of applause and skeptical murmurs. Jenna knew that words alone would not be enough. The real test would come as they began to negotiate the specific terms of the coalition charter. The negotiations were grueling. Delegates debated late into the night, sessions stretching for hours as they hashed out the details of trade agreements, mutual defense pacts, and the sharing of technological resources. Jenna was in the thick of it, mediating conflicts and facilitating compromises. Despite the challenges, progress was made. A preliminary agreement was drafted, outlining the foundational principles of the coalition. Jenna felt a surge of pride as she watched the delegates sign the document. It was a historic moment, the birth of a new alliance that could change the face of the galaxy. As the summit concluded, Jenna and Lysara reviewed the outcomes. "You've done something remarkable, Jenna," Lysara said, her voice tinged with admiration. "This coalition could be the dawn of a new era of peace and cooperation." Jenna smiled, weary but satisfied. It's only the beginning, Laysara. There's so much more to do. Indeed, the road ahead was long. The coalition would need nurturing and strong leadership to grow and thrive. Jenna was already planning her next steps, preparing to visit each member planet to solidify the relationship she had begun to build. As she gazed out at the departing ships from the observation deck of Centra Hub, Jenna felt a deep connection to the vast, star-strewn universe. She was no longer just a human from Earth. She was a galactic diplomat, a maker of peace, and a leader of the newly formed coalition. The stars seemed brighter now, each one a beacon of potential, and Jenna was ready to lead the way into this promising future. In the wake of the summit, Jenna found herself busier than ever. With the coalition's framework in place, her role evolved beyond that of a mediator to that of a steward. Each day brought new challenges as she worked to transform the theoretical alliance into a functioning entity, capable of collective action and mutual support. Her first task was to establish a permanent headquarters for the coalition. After extensive discussions and consultations, a decision was made to build it on Neutralis, a newly terraformed planet strategically positioned at the center of the coalition's territory. Neutralis was a symbol of new beginnings, its untouched landscapes representing the clean slate on which the coalition would write its history. Jenna supervised the construction of the headquarters, a massive complex designed to facilitate communication and cooperation among the coalition members. The architecture was a blend of many cultures, with elements inspired by each member civilization, symbolizing unity and diversity. As the building took shape, Jenna worked tirelessly to set up the administrative and bureaucratic structures necessary for the coalition's operations. She established departments of trade, defense, environmental protection, and scientific exchange, each led by representatives from different member planets. This not only ensured a balanced approach to governance but also fostered a sense of ownership and responsibility among the members. One of her most significant challenges during this period was the establishment of the Coalition Defense Force, CDF, a unified military body designed to protect the coalition's interests against external threats and to mediate disputes within the coalition itself. The formation of the CDF was contentious, as many members feared it might become a tool for oppression if not properly managed. Jenna navigated these concerns with a series of negotiations and compromises, ensuring that the CDF was accountable to a civilian oversight committee and that its leadership rotated among the member species. The establishment of the CDF was a testament to the trust that had been built under Jenna's guidance. With the administrative structures in place, Jenna turned her attention to external relations. The coalition, a new power block, had drawn the attention of older, more established civilizations, some of whom viewed it with suspicion or even hostility. Jenna took on the delicate task of diplomacy, meeting with ambassadors and leaders from these civilizations to explain the coalition's peaceful intentions and to explore opportunities for collaboration. Her efforts bore fruit in the form of several non-aggression pacts and trade agreements, further solidifying the coalition's place in the galactic community. Jenna's role as an ambassador was crucial in these negotiations, her integrity and clear commitment to peace easing many fears about the coalition's rise. Despite the successes, Jenna remained vigilant. The galaxy was a complex and often dangerous place, and the coalition's unity would be tested by both internal disagreements and external pressures. She spent long hours strategizing with her advisors, planning for various scenarios that could threaten the coalition's stability. Her dedication did not go unnoticed. Across the coalition, Jenna was respected and admired not just for her diplomatic acumen, but for her genuine care for the welfare of each member species. She became a symbol of hope and progress, a leader who had risen from the ranks of an obscure researcher to a major galactic diplomat. As she sat in her office one evening, looking out over the bustling complex on Neutralis, Jenna reflected on her journey. The stars outside seemed closer than ever, each one a reminder of the vastness of her responsibilities and the potential of her achievements. The coalition was her legacy, a beacon of cooperation in a fragmented universe, and she was its guardian. Jenna knew that the road ahead would be fraught with challenges, but she was ready. With each challenge overcome, the coalition grew stronger, a testament to the power of unity and the enduring spirit of diplomacy. She was steering the ship of a vibrant alliance, navigating the uncharted waters of the cosmos with a steady hand and a hopeful heart. Jenna's position as the leader of the coalition brought not just opportunities but also substantial trials. Despite the successes and outward signs of unity, cracks began to emerge from within. Disagreements over resources, territorial disputes, and differing cultural values started to strain the delicate fabric of the coalition. A significant challenge arose from a dispute between the Viridians and the Syntax over a series of newly discovered planets rich in rare minerals. Both sides had legitimate claims, the Viridians citing environmental concerns and the preservation of potential ecosystems, and the Syntax focusing on the technological advancements and economic growth that exploiting these resources could provide. Jenna convened a council meeting on Neutralis to address the conflict. The atmosphere in the council chamber was tense, with representatives from both sides prepared for a vigorous debate. Jenna opened the session with a call for civility and mutual respect, reminding everyone of the coalition's foundational principles. The discussions were intense. The Viridians argued that unchecked exploitation could lead to ecological disasters, affecting not just the disputed planets, but potentially rippling effects across nearby systems. The Syntax countered by presenting advanced methods of resource extraction that they claimed would minimize environmental impact. As the debate unfolded, Jenna listened carefully, weighing each argument. She proposed a compromise, a joint Viridian-Syntax task force to conduct a thorough environmental impact assessment on the disputed planets. This task force would be guided by both Viridian ecological experts and Syntax technologists, ensuring a balanced approach to the study. The proposal was met with skepticism, but after lengthy negotiations, both sides agreed to the joint study, albeit with some reservations. Jenna realized this was only a temporary solution, but it was a step toward a more collaborative approach to solving disputes within the coalition. Just as this issue was finding a path to resolution, another crisis demanded Jenna's attention. A small but aggressive civilization known as the Zeltrons began conducting raids on trade routes that crossed their territory, which bordered the coalition. These raids threatened not only the economic stability of the coalition, but also its reputation as a capable and unified entity. Jenna faced a dilemma. Addressing the Zeltron aggression with military force could undermine the coalition's commitment to peace and diplomacy, yet doing nothing would weaken its position and encourage further aggression. After consulting with her advisors and military commanders, Jenna decided on a show of force that would be defensive, yet restrained. She ordered the Coalition Defense Force to escort and protect all trade convoys passing through Zeltron-adjacent space, deploying non-lethal deterrents to discourage further attacks. She also opened diplomatic channels with the Zeltron leaders, offering incentives for a formal peace treaty and trade agreements. The Zeltrons, surprised by the Coalition's firm yet conciliatory stance, responded favorably to the overtures. After weeks of negotiations, a treaty was signed and the raids ceased. Jenna's balanced approach had averted a potential military conflict, reinforcing her leadership and the coalition's diplomatic credibility. Amid these external conflicts and internal disputes, Jenna maintained a relentless schedule. Her days were filled with meetings, strategy sessions, and diplomatic engagements, each requiring a careful balancing act of interests and priorities. Through these trials, Jenna's vision for the coalition was continually tested. She often found herself reflecting on the immense responsibility she carried, not just to her own species, but to all members of the coalition. Each decision she made, each crisis she navigated, shaped the future of this interstellar alliance. As Jenna looked out over the lights of the coalition headquarters, she understood that unity was not merely about agreement, but about managing disagreement with respect and wisdom. The challenges were daunting, but they also brought opportunities to strengthen the bonds of the coalition, proving that even in the vastness of the galaxy, unity was possible and worth striving for. DB. As the coalition stabilized and grew stronger under Jenna's leadership, she began to turn her attention toward long-term goals and broader visions for the future. The immediate crises had been managed, and while challenges remained, Jenna felt it was time to initiate projects that went beyond mere conflict resolution and political maneuvering. These projects would aim to deepen the scientific and cultural exchanges among coalition members, fostering a sense of shared destiny and mutual benefit. One of Jenna's most ambitious initiatives was the Intergalactic Cultural Exchange Program. This program was designed to allow citizens of different coalition worlds to visit other planets within the Alliance, learn about their cultures, and share knowledge and experiences. The program quickly became popular, with many young citizens eager to explore the galaxy and experience life among diverse species. Jenna believed that these cultural exchanges would sow seeds of understanding and empathy that could prevent conflicts and deepen the bonds between coalition members. She traveled to various planets to promote the program, speaking at universities, cultural institutions, and public forums about the benefits of intercultural understanding and cooperation. Another significant initiative was the establishment of the Coalition Science Council, which brought together the brightest minds from across the coalition to collaborate on joint research projects. These projects ranged from developing sustainable energy solutions and advancing medical technology to exploring uncharted areas of space. Jenna was particularly passionate about a project that aimed to restore damaged ecosystems on several member planets, using advanced biotechnology and ecological science. The Science Council also served as an advisory body to the coalition government, providing insights and recommendations on scientific matters that affected political decisions. Jenna often met with the council to discuss how scientific advancements could be leveraged to improve the lives of all coalition citizens. As these initiatives took root, Jenna's leadership was not only recognized within the coalition, but also respected by other galactic powers. Leaders from non-member civilizations began seeking her advice on diplomacy and governance, seeing her as a model of successful leadership in a complex and often volatile galaxy. Amidst these developments, Jenna received an invitation that marked a significant milestone for both her and the coalition. The Galactic Council, a prestigious assembly of the most advanced civilizations in the galaxy, invited Jenna to speak about the coalition's achievements and her vision for the future of interstellar cooperation. Preparing for this event, Jenna reflected on her journey, from a solitary researcher on Earth to a galactic diplomat shaping the destiny of a coalition of worlds. Her speech would need to encapsulate the lessons learned, the challenges overcome, and the hope for a unified future. On the day of the speech, Jenna stood before the Galactic Council, a gathering of diverse beings from across the galaxy. She spoke eloquently about the power of unity and the importance of embracing diversity as a strength rather than a weakness. She shared stories from the Cultural Exchange Program and highlighted breakthroughs achieved by the Science Council. Her words resonated with the assembly, earning applause and sparking conversations about potential collaborations with the coalition. Jenna's speech not only elevated the coalition's status, but also established it as a beacon of hope and a testament to the possibility of peace and prosperity through cooperation. Returning to the coalition headquarters, Jenna felt a profound sense of accomplishment and optimism. The path ahead was still fraught with challenges, but she had steered the coalition from a precarious alliance to a thriving community. Her vision for a peaceful and prosperous galaxy seemed more attainable than ever. As she looked out at the stars from her office on Neutralis, Jenna knew that her work would continue to evolve, driven by the ever-changing dynamics of the galaxy. But she also knew that each step forward, no matter how small, was a step toward a brighter future, a future where unity and understanding transcended the boundaries of worlds and species. In the quiet moments of her increasingly rare downtime, Jenna often found herself reflecting on the journey that had brought her from Earth to a position of influence and respect in the galaxy. As the coalition matured, these moments of introspection grew more poignant, especially as new challenges harked back to unresolved issues from the past, reminding her that progress was often not a linear path. A sudden resurgence of tensions between the Kirzak and Tavawi highlighted this cyclical nature of conflicts. The dispute this time centered around an ancient artifact discovered on a neutral planet, claimed by both as part of their cultural heritage. The artifact's discovery had reignited old grievances, threatening the stability Jenna had worked so hard to foster. Recognizing the potential for this conflict to escalate, Jenna decided to intervene personally, proposing a summit on Neutralis to discuss the issue in a mediated environment. She invited archaeologists, historians, and cultural experts from both species, along with neutral experts from other coalition members, to examine the artifact and discuss its origins and significance. The summit opened with a tense atmosphere, as delegates from both sides presented impassioned arguments claiming the artifact. Jenna listened carefully, facilitating the discussions with a calm demeanor that helped temper the rising emotions. After several days of debate and analysis, the experts concluded that the artifact was likely part of a shared heritage, dating back to a time before the Kirzak and Tavawi had split into distinct civilizations. This revelation brought a new perspective to the table, suggesting a shared history that both cultures could celebrate rather than dispute. Jenna seized this opportunity to shift the conversation from ownership to stewardship. She proposed the creation of a joint museum located on the neutral planet where the artifact was found, which would not only house this newly discovered artifact, but also other cultural items from both species. The museum would serve as a center for cultural exchange and education, promoting understanding and unity. The proposal was met with interest, and after further negotiations, both sides agreed to establish the museum. This resolution turned a potentially explosive situation into a symbol of cooperation, echoing the foundational goals of the coalition. Amid these diplomatic victories, Jenna received troubling news from Earth. Despite her long absence, she remained deeply connected to her home planet, and the message that Earth was facing a severe environmental crisis struck a personal chord. The situation was dire, with climate change accelerating beyond previous scientific predictions, causing widespread disasters and suffering. Feeling a responsibility to her home world, Jenna arranged for a coalition task force to assist Earth, leveraging the advanced technologies and expertise from across the coalition to aid in disaster relief and environmental recovery efforts. She also initiated a series of educational exchanges, hoping to bring some of the coalition's sustainable practices to Earth to prevent future crises. This involvement not only brought Jenna full circle back to her roots, but also strengthened the bonds between Earth and the coalition. Earth's leaders, seeing the tangible benefits of galactic cooperation, began to take more active roles in coalition affairs, further integrating Earth into the galactic community. As Jenna watched the coalition's ships orbiting Earth, delivering aid and hope, she felt a profound connection to her past and present. Her role had evolved beyond her initial expectations, embodying not just the aspirations of one world, but the collective hopes of many. Looking forward, Jenna knew that her journey was far from over. The galaxy was vast, filled with infinite stories and challenges. But with each step, she was helping to weave a narrative of unity and resilience, echoing through the cosmos like the light from distant stars, guiding the way toward a more hopeful future. Jenna's leadership was now well established, and her diplomatic skills were widely recognized as crucial in steering the coalition through various crises. The recent environmental aid project on Earth had not only helped stabilize the situation there, but also set a precedent for how the coalition could mobilize resources quickly to address planetary emergencies. Inspired by this success, Jenna proposed the creation of a Rapid Response and Recovery Team, RRRT, within the coalition. This initiative aimed to enhance the coalition's ability to act swiftly in the face of sudden crises, whether environmental, economic, or security-related. The proposal was met with enthusiastic approval, and Jenna oversaw the development of the RRRT, ensuring it was equipped with state-of-the-art technology and staffed by experts from across the coalition worlds. The team's first operation, responding to a volcanic eruption on a member planet, was a resounding success. The rapid containment and management of the disaster saved countless lives and reinforced the value of the coalition's collective effort. Amid these initiatives, Jenna received an invitation to explore uncharted regions of space with a team of coalition explorers. The mission aimed to map unknown territories, search for habitable planets, and make contact with non-member civilizations. Jenna saw this as an opportunity to expand the coalition's influence and knowledge base, fostering goodwill and potentially discovering new resources and allies. Before her departure, Jenna ensured that the coalition's affairs were in order, delegating her responsibilities carefully. She felt a mix of excitement and nostalgia as she prepared for the journey. It reminded her of her early days of stargazing and dreaming of the unknown. The exploration team was diverse, including scientists, diplomats, and security personnel from various coalition species. Their ship, the Voyager Harmony, was a marvel of engineering, equipped with advanced navigation systems, deep space communication arrays, and environmental simulators to accommodate all crew members' physiological needs. As they ventured into the unknown, the team encountered phenomena that tested their equipment and their spirits. Nebulas that painted the void with vibrant colors, black holes whose gravitational dances defied time, and cold exoplanets whispering secrets of ancient geologies. Each discovery was meticulously recorded and analyzed, contributing to the Coalition's growing repository of cosmic knowledge. One of the most significant moments of the mission came when they encountered a drifting space artifact, apparently ancient and of unknown origin. The artifact was covered in inscriptions and symbols that no one on the team could initially decipher. Jenna suggested bringing the artifact aboard the Voyager Harmony for closer study, a decision that would unveil historical insights of profound depth. Back aboard the ship, the team's linguists and historians worked together to decode the artifact's language, slowly unraveling a tale of a civilization lost to time and space. The artifact was a sort of time capsule, containing information about the culture, achievements, and the unfortunate demise of its creators due to a cosmic catastrophe. This discovery was not just academic. It served as a stark reminder of the fragility of life and civilizations. Jenna felt a renewed sense of urgency to strengthen the Coalition's capabilities, not just to respond to emergencies, but also to preserve the history and knowledge of all Coalition members. As the mission continued, Jenna and her team made contact with a previously unknown spacefaring species, the Alkari. Initial communications were cautious but hopeful, with Jenna using her diplomatic acumen to establish a friendly rapport. The Alkari were curious about the Coalition and, impressed by Jenna's representation, expressed interest in learning more about joining. Returning from the mission, Jenna brought with her not only new scientific data and potential new allies, but also a deeper understanding of the universe's complexities. She knew that these experiences would further enrich the Coalition's collective wisdom and strengthen their bond. The galaxy was vast, filled with wonders and warnings, and Jenna was more committed than ever to navigating its mysteries and potentials. She had seen firsthand how exploration could lead to discovery, cooperation, and sometimes to the unveiling of common histories shared across the stars. The future was a frontier, and Jenna was ready to lead the Coalition towards it, ensuring their light shone brightly in the cosmos. The successful conclusion of the exploration mission and the potential addition of the Alkari to the Coalition marked a significant milestone in Jenna's diplomatic career. The vastness of space, filled with untapped potential and hidden dangers, reminded her that leadership was as much about exploration and learning as it was about decision-making and crisis management. Back at the Coalition headquarters on Neutralis, Jenna found the political landscape subtly shifted. The successful integration of new members like the Alkari brought fresh dynamics and new voices to the Coalition Council. Each new member brought unique perspectives and resources, enriching the Coalition but also complicating the balance of power and interests. To address these complexities, Jenna initiated a series of strategic planning sessions aimed at realigning the Coalition's goals with its expanding membership. She emphasized the importance of maintaining the Coalition's founding principles while adapting to new circumstances. This included enhancing the Coalition's infrastructure to support a larger and more diverse membership, improving communication channels across different cultures, and expanding the RRRT to handle increased responsibilities. During this period of strategic expansion, Jenna also faced personal changes. The relentless pace of her responsibilities began to weigh on her, and she found herself longing for the simplicity of her earlier academic life. This introspection led to a realization that for the Coalition to remain vibrant and effective, it needed to cultivate new leadership alongside the founding members. With this in mind, Jenna launched the Coalition Leadership Program, CLP, designed to identify and train future leaders from among the younger generations of all member species. The program combined leadership training, intercultural communication, and deep dives into coalition politics and governance. Jenna believed that nurturing a broad base of talented leaders would ensure the coalition's sustainability and adaptability. As the CLP took shape, Jenna received reports of unrest on a remote member planet, where a local dispute had escalated into a significant conflict, threatening to draw in neighboring systems. The RRRT was quick to respond, but Jenna saw this as a critical test of the coalition's ability to manage internal conflicts without her direct intervention. She monitored the situation closely, advising the RRRT and local leaders, but resisting the urge to take over the resolution process. This restraint was challenging but necessary. Jenna understood that she needed to allow the coalition structures and its people to handle crises independently. This was crucial for the coalition's maturity and for her own ability to eventually step back. The conflict was resolved through a combination of diplomacy and strategic concessions, marking a significant success for the coalition's conflict resolution mechanisms and for Jenna's leadership approach. It underscored the effectiveness of the systems she had helped put in place and the readiness of the coalition to manage its affairs more autonomously. Encouraged by this development, Jenna began to delegate more responsibilities, spending more time mentoring emerging leaders and less on day-to-day operations. This shift allowed her to focus on broader strategic goals for the coalition, including preparing for a major intergalactic summit that would potentially expand the coalition's influence and membership further. As preparations for the summit advanced, Jenna reflected on the ebb and flow of her journey. She had seen the coalition grow from a fragile alliance into a robust, influential organization. Now, as she prepared to introduce new leaders and possibly new member civilizations, Jenna felt a sense of fulfillment mixed with anticipation. The intergalactic summit represented a new horizon for the coalition, an opportunity to showcase its achievements and to lay the groundwork for its future. Jenna knew that her role was gradually changing, from leader to mentor, from architect to advisor. As the summit approached, she prepared herself and the coalition to embrace these tides of change, ready to navigate whatever challenges and opportunities the future might hold. As the intergalactic summit approached, Jenna's role as a mentor and strategic guide became more pronounced. She worked closely with the new leaders emerging from the Coalition Leadership Program, preparing them not only to represent their species and planets, but also to embody the principles and vision of the coalition. Jenna found this mentorship deeply rewarding, seeing in these young leaders the future of the coalition, dynamic, diverse, and dedicated to the cause of peace and cooperation. The summit was set on the orbital platform Harmony's Reach, a symbol of the coalition's achievements. It floated serenely above Neutralis, designed to be a meeting point for civilizations across the galaxy. The platform was equipped with the latest technology to accommodate various environmental and gravitational needs, showcasing the coalition's commitment to inclusivity and technological prowess. Delegations from numerous non-member civilizations were invited, along with observers from distant galaxies, to witness and possibly join the coalition's expanding network. The summit was not only a diplomatic event, but also a cultural exposition, featuring art, music, and traditions from across the coalition's member worlds. Jenna opened the summit with a keynote speech, reflecting on the coalition's journey from its tentative beginnings to its current role as a significant galactic entity. She spoke of the challenges they had faced, the conflicts they had overcome, and the bonds they had forged. Her speech emphasized the power of unity and cooperation, setting the tone for the discussions and negotiations that would follow. The summit's agenda was extensive, covering economic partnerships, mutual defense pacts, scientific collaborations, and cultural exchanges. Jenna, while no longer in direct command of every detail, remained a pivotal figure, facilitating key sessions and providing insights and advice where needed. During the summit, one of the critical discussions involved the integration of advanced artificial intelligence into the coalition's administrative and defense systems. This proposal, brought forward by the technologically advanced species from Synthax, raised both opportunities and concerns about security and ethical implications. Jenna guided this discussion with a focus on establishing strict ethical guidelines and oversight mechanisms, ensuring that the adoption of AI would enhance the coalition's capabilities without compromising its values. Another highlight was the negotiation of a massive trade agreement with the Alkari, the newest members of the coalition. The Alkari, with their unique resources and strategic location, offered significant economic benefits to the coalition. Jenna mentored the lead negotiators, encouraging a balanced approach that would ensure both immediate economic boosts and long-term sustainability. The successful conclusion of this agreement was a testament to the efficacy of the coalition's diplomatic training and Jenna's emphasis on thoughtful negotiation. As the summit drew to a close, Jenna felt a mixture of pride and nostalgia. The coalition had grown beyond her initial expectations, becoming a beacon of hope and cooperation in a sometimes chaotic galaxy. The closing ceremony was a vibrant celebration of this unity, with performances and displays from dozens of cultures, a vivid tapestry of the coalition's diversity and strength. In the quiet moments after the summit, Jenna reflected on her journey. She realized that her role was evolving once more, from the leader of the coalition to its elder stateswoman and advisor. This transition was bittersweet, but Jenna understood that for the coalition to continue to grow and adapt, it needed to do so under the guidance of its next generation of leaders. Looking out over the stars from Harmony's reach, Jenna felt a profound connection to the cosmos. Her work had changed the course of history for multiple worlds, and she had sown seeds that would grow long after she stepped back. The future of the coalition was bright, filled with potential and promise, and Jenna was content knowing that she had played her part in guiding it to this horizon of hope. As the lights of Harmony's reach faded into the distance, Jenna settled back into her life at the coalition headquarters on Neutralis. Though her role had fundamentally shifted, she was no longer at the helm of daily operations, but rather served as an eminent advisor and a symbol of the coalition's enduring principles. Her focus turned towards ensuring the continuity of her work through mentoring and guiding the next generation of leaders. Jenna dedicated herself to the establishment of the Coalition Heritage Center, a project close to her heart. This center was not only a museum preserving the artifacts and histories of the coalition's diverse members, but also an educational institution. It aimed to teach future generations about the challenges and triumphs of the coalition's journey, instilling a sense of shared history and collective identity. The Heritage Center quickly became a hub of activity, attracting scholars, students, and tourists from across the galaxy. Jenna often walked its halls, interacting with visitors and sharing stories from the coalition's early days. She found great joy in these interactions, seeing the impact of her life's work reflected in the curiosity and enthusiasm of her audience. Meanwhile, the coalition continued to grow under the leadership of those Jenna had mentored. New alliances were forged, and the coalition's influence spread to the farther reaches of the galaxy. The Rapid Response and Recovery Team, which Jenna had initiated, became a model for interstellar humanitarian efforts, responding to crises with efficiency and compassion. One of Jenna's final official acts was to oversee the negotiation of a peace treaty between two rival civilizations on the coalition's border. These talks, held at the newly inaugurated Peace Pavilion within the Heritage Center, symbolized the evolution of the coalition from a fragile alliance to a leading force for stability in the galaxy. Jenna's guidance was crucial in helping the negotiators find common ground, and the successful resolution of the conflict was seen as a testament to her enduring influence. As she prepared to step back further from her public duties, Jenna organized a series of lectures and writings encapsulating her experiences and the lessons she had learned. These were intended not just to recount history, but to provide a roadmap for future diplomats and leaders. Her insights into the nature of power, the importance of empathy in leadership, and the complexities of interstellar diplomacy were invaluable. Her final public appearance was at the annual Gathering of Light, a celebration of the coalition's founding. Jenna delivered a moving speech, reflecting on her journey and expressing her hopes for the future. She spoke of the coalition as a living entity, one that would continue to evolve long after she was gone. The light we have kindled together, Jenna said, must be nurtured by each generation, adapted to the challenges of the times, and held as a beacon for all who seek peace and unity in the vastness of space. With these words, Jenna stepped away from the podium and into the quiet twilight of her career. She spent her later years in a beautiful villa overlooking the azure seas of Neutralis, writing, thinking, and occasionally advising when called upon. Her life had been a journey of unimaginable breadth, a testament to the power of vision and determination. As the coalition prospered and expanded, Jenna's legacy was celebrated in the peace it maintained and the cooperation it fostered. Her story, taught in the Heritage Center and across countless worlds, inspired new generations to look to the stars not as distant lights but as beacons of hope, a legacy of light that would endure across the ages, guiding the path of future explorers and peacemakers in the ever-unfolding saga of the cosmos.